Shalom, this is Sophia, the Ameru Khan Maryam, and this is a video that I'm going to premiere a little bit later on, but I'm out at a nature preserve, and what I wanted to try to do was some like direct channeling my way and discuss some information that I think will be helpful for people as we move forward. And normally I would do this in like the live stream, but I'm going to be extremely busy for the rest of the night. And so I want to get something a little bit more concrete and something a little bit easier. And this will just give me more options for being able to create this kind of content to share. So, one of the things that has come up is that this whole concept of being able to pinpoint a particular location in the universe and use the energy that's coming from that location to actually achieve different things. That is what the concept of the Grabovoi, I think that's how you pronounce it, those numbers, the quantum codes, all the different the angel numbers, all of those things. It's an attempt to pinpoint a location for a particular entity, even if you've heard of magic cubes and the magic squares, and the numbers, the rows of numbers. All of that is about pinpointing a particular point in the universe to try to accomplish something. And so what I'm getting from the spirit is that not only are those numbers useful for us to try and pinpoint what we're trying to accomplish, kind of like using a GPS system, but those numbers can also be used to pinpoint us. And so, two things that they always ask you on every piece of paper is your date of birth and your social security card. And I want people to think back to the story of Joseph again. I know I refer to that story a lot, but it has a lot of really, really useful information in it. And in the story of Joseph, his brother knew, I think it's Benjamin, knew that it was him because he knew the astrological coordinates of his brother. I think it was Benjamin because Benjamin was his blood brother. He knew the astrological coordinates of his brother. And so he gave his astrological coordinates, Pharaoh did, to Benjamin, and Benjamin said, "It's you. These are your coordinates." Now, what information do you think that Joseph gave to Benjamin? It doesn't say in the book of Jasher what that is, but if someone wanted to identify who you are, they would ask for your date of birth and your social security number. So more than likely they didn't have social security numbers down there, but he could have indeed given his brother his date of birth and location, and that would have been enough for Benjamin to identify that. I believe when I first heard that story, I thought that it was something more complicated, like he looked in the stars and he was able to track him that way and that kind of stuff. But now it could have just been as simple as, well, who are you? And the guy says, yeah, I was born on X, Y, and Z at this location. And Benjamin's like, whoa, where were you born? What day were you born? Oh, you're Joseph. Oh my gosh, he figured it out. But really, who doesn't know the date and the location of where their siblings were born? I mean, I know the date, I know the location that my siblings were born. So that would be a pretty typical thing. And so that's why they, always ask, what's your name? What's your sign? You could tell a lot of information by just having that. And so we have to consider that our how valuable our birth date, just the actual numbers and the location of where we were born, how valuable that information is, and how that information can be used to our benefit and how it can be used against us. So you may be wondering, for example, if you are a quote unquote targeted individual, how it is that you've been able to be targeted. Well, you have to consider this. If you are targeted as a result of a type of job that you had, when you applied for that job, you gave them all your information, you gave them all your coordinates so they could put a spiritual tracker on you and be able to tap into your energy field. These things are not unusual. That's what prayer is tapping into the energy field of the divine source. And so if somebody knows your birthday, day, month, day, year, they can tap into your energy and see, figure out where you are. And there's a great deal of people who do this. This is what is known as radionics. So there's radionics that people do to heal people, but there's radionics that people could be doing to actually harm and hinder people. And if you think about this in relation to Facebook, on Facebook, they have all of your memories. So when you're trying to so let's say, for example, you don't have somebody's date of birth. Well, you may be able to pinpoint their location because you have one of their memories that, pops up on Facebook every so often. And based on how you respond to that memory as it pops up on your page, they know whether that's a good memory for you or a bad memory for you, and then they use that to track your information. And so that's why these websites are insidious on multiple levels, because it may be a Facebook employee that's doing that, but more than likely it's just a friend or family member who says, "Oh, I remember this is the day that person got married," such as, and as they're remembering, this day that happened, they're able to channel into your energy field and do what they will with your energy. I mean, a lot of people are not aware that this is how energy works. And so they think that they're doing something that's, innocent or whatever. However, the energy doesn't work the way that they've been told. And so a lot of people are out here, engaged in stuff that is really not in their best interest. So you have to be very, very careful about how you interact, because we are protected. We do have our spiritual team. But if you're unaware of even the smallest little stuff, things the spirit is trying to warn you about, then when the bigger thing it's going to end up snowballing into a bigger thing when it could have stayed a small thing. Let's put it that way. That's the best way to describe it. And so you really want to be careful about how you interact with this stuff and how you actually you know, do certain things. You don't want to just, jump into a bunch of stuff. You don't want to just jump into anything. You want to be very, very strategic in how you operate. That's one part, of this whole thing. The second part is you need to examine numbers that are jumping out to you. So as soon as we started discussing numbers, one of the sisters, she had a dream, and in the dream, a number jumped out to her in the dream. Now, we still have more investigation to do on what this number means, but that is to say that all the numbers have meanings. Every number. So if numbers jump out to you, as is with the sister in a dream, or for me, some numbers jumped out to me because I was already using them, and a new method of using them was revealed unto me. And so that is also the numbers jumping out to you. Is not jumping out to me like it did with the sister in the terms of something that was outside of her energy field that the spirits had to place in there. This number was already in my energy field. I have just come to the understanding of what it means, how it works, and why, based on some other research I was doing. So that is to say that these numbers are extremely powerful, and you really need to pay attention to them. The last thing that I want to say, and I'm not going to make this too long because it's really not necessary. The last thing that I want to say is that, sometimes, yes, you can do your own spiritual work. And I am not advocating that anybody who does not feel comfortable go to anybody else to get spiritual work done. You are capable of doing your own spiritual work. However, if you are off, if things are off for you, I would suggest working with a professional whose frequency is in line with the frequency you have or the frequency that you want. And the reason that is that even when a doctor is sick, you know, Jesus did not save himself off that cross. He could not pull himself on that cross. Once he gave up the ghost, you know, once he yielded his spirit, he didn't take himself off the cross. It was somebody else, Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus, that took him off the cross, perfumed him, and all of that. And so that is to say, you know, we, you know, may or may not have put ourselves on these crosses that we're bearing, but we cannot take ourselves off the cross. We have to rely on another individual to fill the gap for us. So for me, I feel comfortable doing readings for other people. But if I have to do something for myself, I would feel quite uncomfortable right now because I know I'm not in a good position, a position that makes me feel comfortable. And being that I am in an uncomfortable situation, I know better than to just, you know, be out here trying to do my own spiritual work. And for me, this came up because, of course, tonight is the new moon, and it's also the lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse starts at 9, or it's a solar eclipse actually. It starts at 9, about 9:15 Eastern time, and it goes all the way up until 3 a.m. Eastern time. So I would highly suggest not being outside during those hours. However, you know, I wanted to do something for this new moon, but I realized that I didn't have the capability of healing myself, doing anything for myself. I can pull my energy together and do something for someone else, you know, if I had to. But for myself, it would be very difficult because I know that personally I'm in a very odd position. And so instead of trying to force myself into some type of thing which is not to my best benefit, I decided that, you know, somebody had a offering. They were taken up to do a healing ritual for tonight, and I decided to participate in that. And it's not that I'm outsourcing my spiritual work. I'm not. I just recognize that I am incapable of being fully effective with my spiritual work right now. So instead of, you know, pulling my hair out trying to be something that I cannot be right now, I have decided to engage the use of someone who is already prepared to deal with this kind of energy. And we have to be very, very careful about how we look at what other people do. There's lots of readers out here, right? Tarot readers. There's lots of astrologers. There's lots of channelers. There's lots of diviners. There's a great deal of people who do any number of those things. What you have to be concerned about is knowing when to use one of these people and when your own intuition is sufficient. So I feel that my intuition is not sufficient enough for me to do a very powerful ritual for tonight. And so I wanted to, in my own best interest, find someone who was in a position they could put forward the most pertinent information for tonight. And had I not been honest with myself about my own capabilities and my limitations and why they're happening, I would not have felt comfortable with going to somebody else for any spiritual work. And so, again, this is where you have to come in, and when people tell you how much they cost, you know, you just say the price is perfect. You know, the price is perfect, and maybe but you can't afford it right now, or the price is perfect, ring it up. Either or, it doesn't matter which one it is. You've just already started today with a very, very positive outlook on your situation, what's happening to you, and even how to correct it. And so I just implore people to be very, very careful at the way that they come out of the house, the way that their brain is thinking, what they're thinking, why they're thinking. There's a lot of ancestry. Why did I say that word? Ancestry. There's a lot of incest, spiritual incest going on. People coveting your actual energy. And so, because you have all these, spiritual people, so-called Hebrews and whoever, with this Hebrew mind virus, coveting your actual, I don't know why I said that word, coveting your actual energy, ancestry. It's not really called that. Um, you have to be extremely careful about where that stuff is going and how it's going. And you want to make sure that you're in control of your energy when it's necessary. And then sometimes you want to control how you allow others to manipulate your energy. Again, if I was a heart surgeon, I could not do heart surgery on myself. It does not mean I am incapable of doing heart surgery. No, it just means that I understand my limitation in this physical world. And sometimes, especially if we are spiritual people, we think that we are just able to be all things to all people. And I just highly suggest that you rethink that position. And I know that it's very unpopular, but it is a position that's extremely important. I have gone to Sister Pat for shadow work. I have gone to the sisters to do different stuff. I do not do everything for myself. I understand that that is a limitation. When I need a portal open for me, when I need ancestor money burned for me in my situation, I go to someone else to do it for me. I don't burn ancestor money for myself. I have someone else do it for me. And this is not the type of walk where you can just do everything yourself. In order for the energy to flow, you have to actually do very few things for yourself. You have to be more so aware of what is actually happening and how you fit into it. And it's very, very difficult to it is very difficult to allow these entities to do whatever they want and still maintain order in chaos. I mean, order in the midst of chaos. Sometimes you do have to indeed go outside of yourself, hire a practitioner who can help you clear out some of the cobwebs. It's much easier for me to help somebody clear out their stuff than to spend all day and all night trying to figure out my own stuff. That's just the nature of this thing. It's because on this life cycle, we have to come together as a community to get things done. Nobody's going to get it done on their own. We have to come together and work together for solutions. And so this whole concept of this ancestry and all of that, you have to be prepared, again, like I said, to walk away from the past. Truly, truly walk away from it and not be held back by the bondage of the former slavery that held you. You have to be able to take a step forward. You have to be able to look into the eyes of all the children and all the people and say, I, wish that person a beautiful, loving experience. And everybody's not going to be told that. And of course, we know that these girls don't have that issue, but you do have to be careful about how to, make certain of this stuff happen without causing too many issues. We want to maintain a low profile. We do not want to take the place of the priest or anything like that. We just want to know how we're supposed to do what we're supposed to do. And so I am basically way over my time. I did want to get that message out to you. I think it's very important. So, to the spirits who are here with us, you're invited to go in peace. To my beloved viewers, you're invited to be at peace. And always remember, the Most High is your peace. Shalom.